New York. This is WIUR Radio.
What's going on, everyone? This is Eric Mincin live on the Mincin Show. Couple things to talk about today. We missed last week. Not much going on last week in the baseball world, but we missed that show last week. But we're here today. Want to start off with some recent news that came out in the baseball world in regards to, it's related to the Mets, but not really. It's the signing of Starling Marte to the Kansas City Royals. Now, I never thought that the Mets were going to really pursue Marte again for one more year. I would have liked it. I would have liked to see if Marte kind of guided Juan Soto and maybe the younger guys, maybe Luis Robert. But I guess we have Soto to guide Robert now, and Marte's presence wasn't needed anymore, and that's totally fine. I don't think it was needed, but I would have liked to see him sign one more year. I mean, he wasn't horrible as a Met. He batted .272 in his 4 years as a Met, and an All-Star in 2022. So he did really good to help that 22 team reach the playoffs and win 101 games. Going on to the next topic, I just want to point that out is something that I mentioned in previous episodes, the possibility of maybe signing Marte as a right-hand DH, since we don't really have one. Do we really trust Vientos to do the right-hand DH position? I don't trust Vientos one bit. Yes, he had a good 2024. He had a great postseason. He helped us go into the championship series. But after that, the guy vanished. And I don't trust him one bit to be that right-hand DH for 160 plus games or 150 plus games. One bit. Now, going on to a new topic of discussion, which would be the Freddie Peralta news. And he looks really happy to be a New York Met. And obviously people are talking about, will he sign an extension? Will they wait to sign him? What are we looking at? What I think the Mets should do, I would love to see an extension for Freddie Peralta. The numbers they're talking about 4 years, 5 years, 140, 150. Deal. I mean, I would do that in a heartbeat. However, would it be the smartest thing for the Mets to do? Now, I'm looking at what's best for the Mets, not what's best for Freddie Peralta. And I want, obviously, what's best for Freddie Peralta and his family or whatever. But I'm talking as if I was in the front office of the New York Mets. And what I would advise Steve Cohen or David Stearns or whoever's running, I guess it would be David Stearns, but what I would advise David Stearns is wait. You named him opening day starter. Good. I'm glad. That's cool and all. I think I personally would have went with Nolan McLean. I think it would have been a cooler matchup to see McLean against Skeens on opening day at Citi Field. However, I'm okay with Freddie Peralta. He's, been there, done that. Ace on the Milwaukee Brewers. Give it to Peralta, your new guy. Let's see what he can do. But what I would advise Stearns and the Mets to do with Peralta as far as an extension goes is to wait. I would not. Obviously, I think they said that, and Peralta has mentioned it before, that they are in talks, and talks are occurring about a possible extension. I would wait, though. I would wait until after the year, because here's the thing. The Mets, there are a lot of negatives that can come out of this, and obviously I don't want to see Peralta get hurt, but he can. He could, obviously. Last year, he had a 2.7 ERA, his career year, his best year as a starter, or his best year in general. And, this year could be a down year. He's never pitched in New York. We have no idea what he would be like adapting to the fans, the stadium, the atmosphere, the media. So far, he's handled it very well, I gotta say. So maybe he would be a good fit for a 4 or 5 year contract extension. But I would still wait because we don't know. We have no idea. He's pitched one game this spring where it was 3 innings, 3 Ks, no walks, no hits. And so he did very well in his no runs either. He did very well in his first spring debut for the New York Mets. But that's why I would wait. If I was Peralta, I'd be looking for an extension. But if I'm the Mets, I would wait it out. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. God forbid. Hopefully the market, you wait until and see what the market's asking for him. Scooble's on the market. I think they'll be going in hard on Scooble. And if you have Peralta waiting in the free agency, that might fluctuate his price and his market. The second that Scooble is taken off the board, which I think he'll go fast, he's really the only starting pitcher that's of high value that's on the board in free agency. So I think that once Scooble goes, Peralta's going to go. He's going to see the market for Scooble, and he's going to ask for that amount of money. Now, is he worth that amount of money? Not at all. Scooble's back-to-back Cy Young, going for a three-peat. Peralta finished high in the Cy Young votes, I believe, this year. He must have. 2.7 ERA. He did great. His best year, but he's not a Cy Young winner. So I would say Peralta's looking for 25 to 30 million a year. Scooble's asking for 35, 40. And if he might get 50. Scooble definitely might get 50. So I just wanted to bring that up because that was a topic of discussion that I've noticed in the news recently. Peralta and an extension with them in talks. And the numbers I saw today in an article, it was 4 years to 5 years, 140 to 150. I'll do it. I would do it. I would sign him. I would extend him. I would have no problem. It's not like if they extend him, I'd be like, oh, forget this. Why would they sign him? If you extend him, good. If you don't, also good, because you let him play out the year, you let him perform well, and you wait and see what the market's asking for him. Because Steve Cohen, if there's one thing about this team, is I would be absolutely comfortable letting him not walk in free agency, but go to free agency and test the market and see what's out there for him. Because Cohen has only been beat by one team and one team only, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Nobody else can beat him besides the Dodgers when it comes to signing free agents. And I don't think that the Dodgers are going to be in on Freddie Peralta. And if Freddie Peralta loves being here, I mean, the guy's all smiles this spring. He looks absolutely ecstatic to be here. I don't think the Dodgers would be in on him, and I don't think Freddie Peralta would take a 4-year, 5-year deal with, I don't know, the Rangers or the Yankees or another team that he's not comfortable with. I don't think he would do that. So I would wait. And if Stearns is smart, and obviously Stearns is smart, I think they do wait. I think Stearns is going to wait. And I don't think we get any news yet on a Freddie Peralta contract extension. Again, I wouldn't be opposed. Not at all, I wouldn't be opposed. Especially to hear the numbers that he wants, or he's asking for. But I could see an extension coming, but I don't think so. I don't think Stearns will go to that extent. I think he waits and sees what's on the market. I think they're going to go hard in on Scooble first, and then Pete Peralta. Besides that point of Freddie Peralta's extension, the Mets have been playing, be honest with you, quite well in the spring. They've been playing really well this spring, and there are some key names that are popping out right away. MJ Melendez being one of them. Carson Benj, we'll get into a little bit later. But MJ Melendez, let me tell you about this guy. I have no idea where he's coming from. He came from the Kansas City Royals. He was a catcher prospect. Now he's in the outfield. That might be your fourth outfielder. I think your outfield will be Benj, Robert, Soto, or Soto, Robert, Benj, left to right, and then Melendez. Because Melendez is quick as well. He's good defensively. Unless you do 5 outfielders, which I don't think you do, because you need an infield. I guess you could do a 5th outfielder with Taylor and Melendez. But he's been shocking the team and the fan base this spring. The other day, he went, I think, 3 for 3 with 2 home runs, or 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. Or he's good. I think Melendez was a good pickup, a solid pickup, and I think he makes the team right out of the gate. But he's performing well. Benj is performing well. He went 3 for 3 the other day. And something that stuck out with me for Benj after one of that 3 for 3 performance was him mentioning how he hates striking out. And that's something that I like to hear, because striking out in today's game is something that's sort of like allowed in a way. It's not very looked down upon as it once was. You know, striking out with the bases loaded and 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. It doesn't matter anymore. Nobody really cares. And I think that's a bad thing for the sport. And you see it with some manager decisions. You see it with players, the way that players walk up to the plate. You could see it in their demeanor that, you know, if they strike out, it's not the end of the world, because someone behind them has a chance to do the same thing. Nobody really wanted to be the hero, it seemed, in 2025 for the Mets. Nobody seemed to care. And that's what loses you games. That's what loses you seasons. That's what makes you not go to the playoffs. Players like that. Players that don't really care. The Anthony Rendones of the world. And since Kyle Tucker's not any more relevant, but he was a topic of discussion, there's news that he might be the new Anthony Rendon, where he doesn't really care about the game and he's just looking for money, and he just wants to be paid. Those are the players that you do not need or want on your team. And I think the Mets have built a team now that is the total opposite of that. They're a team that wants to get on base. They're a team that's not looking for home runs. They're a team that's looking to drive the ball in the gap. They're a team that's looking for those bloop singles, bloop hits. No more of these, you know, home runs are all nice, and sometimes they win you games when necessary. But if it's 4-2 in the 9th inning, all you need is a single. You don't need a home run. All you need is a single. Go back to the fundamentals of how you got here. What taught you in Little League. This is all you need. You don't need home runs and big power bats and whatever the case may be. And if I have to hear one more time about a Mets fan crying about Pete Alonso, I'm going to lose my mind. Because Pete Alonso did nothing with this team. He did nothing. And the argument, again, about Aaron Judge, and how it's the same thing over then, how can you say that Aaron Judge did nothing with the Yankees? Aaron Judge doesn't have a team around him. That's the difference. Pete Alonso had Nimmo. He had Soto. He had Lindor. He had Diaz. He had DeGrom. He had some of the Mets greats on his team and did nothing with it. Aaron Judge is the only player on the Yankees since 2019, 2018, whenever he came up. The argument is not the same. So, to Mets fans, move on from Pete Alonso because I moved on the day he left. Anyway, moving on to the next topic of discussion. We're moving quick here. Nolan McLean, news came out yesterday that he's going to be in the WBC, and he's going to be pitching. He's lined up to pitch the championship game if the USA advances to the championship round in the WBC. Now, here are my first thoughts about this. I was very happy to hear this. I was like, damn, that's sick. Nolan McLean, a New York Met rookie, is going to be pitching in the championship game, lined up to be pitching in the championship game for the US of A in the WBC. Awesome. And then I'm scrolling on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And I'm seeing people upset about this. Now, I'm a WBC hater myself. I do not want to see any of my players in the WBC. However, do not root against the USA. I mean, what are we doing? What have we become? Yes, I don't want to see anyone get hurt in the WBC. It's a pointless, useless, makes no sense tournament just for money for this commissioner. But to say, I mean, I'm scrolling on X, Twitter, and people are saying, I really hope the USA gets knocked out first round now. I don't want to see any of my players get hurt. Me neither. But don't root against your country. What a pathetic thing to do. Pathetic. Again, I'm a tier 1 WBC hater. I want it gone. I think it's pointless. I think it's useless. But if you're going to have it, you might as well root for your country. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to root for the USA in this tournament, even though I don't want to see it. Ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I saw a tweet and I got a little upset about that. I don't want to see I want the USA out on the first round of this tournament. It's useless. Give me a break. Give me a break. You don't even care, dude. You don't even care about the Mets. Okay. Odds are you watch 3 games out of the year, and you probably don't even know how to pronounce half the team's names. And probably the last topic of discussion today that I want to talk about is Bo Bichette. News came out the other day that Bo Bichette, over the offseason and throughout spring training as well, has been talking to Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado on playing third base. Now, this is massive news. This did not hit the media the way that I think it should have. This is absolutely massive, massive news. Matt Chapman, Gold Glove winner, great defensive player, teaching Bo Bichette, first-time third baseman, how to play third base. Huge. And then you hear that he's talking to and training with Nolan Arenado as well. Nolan Arenado is the greatest third baseman I've ever seen defend that position. He's the greatest third baseman I've ever seen. He's a wizard. Now, not anymore due to his age. He's been in the league for 15 years, it feels like. But growing up, he was the greatest third baseman. You know, I played third base growing up, and I would model my batting stance after David Wright, obviously. And kind of the way I fielded my position at third base after David Wright. But David Wright wasn't even close to the defensive wizardry of Nolan Arenado. And David Wright was very good defensively, Gold Gloves. But Nolan Arenado, I think it was like 9 years in a row or 8 years. I mean, I might be exaggerating here. I don't know off the top of my head, but there was a consistent amount of time where Nolan Arenado turned into Keith Hernandez at the hot corner and won back to back to back to back Gold Gloves. The greatest third baseman defensively I've ever seen ever. And to have those two guys, Matt Chapman's not bad himself. He's also very good at third. And to have those two guys teaching Bo Bichette how to field the position, I'm not looking for Bo Bichette to have the greatest third baseman defensive season of all time. I'm just looking for you to catch the ball every time it hits you. I'm not looking for diving stops and again wizardry like Nolan Arenado, where he would throw it from like the stands on the third baseline to first base and the runner'd be out. I'm not looking for that out of Bo Bichette. I'm just looking for decent defensive play that can get us and keep us in games. I'm not looking for, again, David Wright, Nolan Arenado plays. So that really makes me excited to know that Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado were talking to Bo Bichette about fielding that position. And then we'll end on this discussion, actually, as it just popped into my head. I was on the way here. I was listening to Salicata's show, getting some ideas to talk about. And it was brought to my attention that Mendoza is looking for a 6-man rotation. Now, the Mets have done this many times before. They've done it too many times before. I'm a traditional baseball guy. I like my 5-man rotations, and I believe it's 11 men in the bullpen. I'm a traditional guy. I want my 5-man rotation, not 6. And the reason why the Mets are going to be doing 6 is because possibly of keeping Kodai Senga healthy. Now, to keep Kodai Senga healthy, he thrives to have extra rest. And we've seen that before. We've seen it last year. We saw it last year when they had a 6-man rotation. We saw it in 2024. And I think we saw it in his first year in 2023, where it was also kind of like a 6-man rotation at one point. He was pitching a lot better on that 6th day instead of the traditional 5th day. But to alter your entire rotation in your roster to make it convenient for one pitcher is ridiculous, in my opinion. Now, ultimately, if it makes him better, then I guess. But dude, you've been in the league now for 3 years, 4 years. And just adjust. You got to just adjust. You've got to be able to just adjust on that 5th day. Do not alter your entire rotation and roster around one guy. Now, yes, we need him healthy. We need him to pitch well for us. But not to this extent. I want those two guys at the top of rotation, Freddie Peralta and Nolan McLean, to pitch as much as possible. Now, yes, early on, is it necessary to have a 5-man rotation? No. You could do a 6-man to start it off. But then what happens? Obviously, there's less risk of injury. But let's say with the 6-man rotation, Sean Manaea goes down with an arm injury, because we all know that's going to happen, or a hip injury, or whatever the case may be. Or David Peterson goes down. Then what happens? Clay Holmes goes down. Now, Clay Holmes was very reliable last year. He didn't pitch a whole lot of innings. 3 innings, 4 innings here, 5 innings here. Got to be able to go deeper into games, Clay, this year. And I think he will. I have a feeling that they'll stretch him out enough to the point where he'll start pitching into the 5th, into the 6th. I know Peralta will. I know McLean will. And that's why I want those two to pitch as much as possible every fifth day, because that guarantees me, or it doesn't guarantee you, nothing's guaranteed, but it gives me the best chance to win as much games as possible, or as many games as possible, because we're not looking to just make the playoffs. We're looking to dominate this division. And this is a year where there are a lot of question marks with this team. This is a year that has a lot of positions that not many people know what's going to happen. We don't know who our right fielder is. We don't know how Bichette's going to do at third. We don't know if Simeon at second's going to start fading away and defensively. Now, he's looked great so far this spring. Everyone's looked really good this spring. First base is probably the biggest question mark of them all, though. We have 3 players that are going to be reportedly playing that position in Vientos, Beatty, and Polanco. Now, Polanco, it's said that he's going to be mostly DH, which I'm okay with. They're just going to have him DH. They're going to play him at first some days, but he's going to mostly be a DH, as Carlos Mendoza said previously. But again, Vientos never played first. Beatty's never played first. And those are 2 question marks. So right there, those are 4 question marks defense-wise. Offense-wise, is Lindor going to be good this year? Is Simeon going to have a productive year offensively? Bo Bichette, I'm not worried about offensively. He's always a stud. Average hitter, clutch. One of the clutch hitters last year. Is Benj going to be good? If Benj makes the team, is he going to be able to pick up the slack when needed? Is he going to be able to be clutch when needed? Is Luis Robert's ceiling? Is he going to reach the ceiling? Because he has an unbelievably high ceiling, Robert, but can he reach it again? In 2023, he did. 40-plus home runs. He was a beast in 23. Can he do it again? So that's another question mark. Is Francisco Alvarez going to be good this year? It's another question mark. Now, he's slimmed down a whole lot this year, Alvarez. He has slimmed down a lot this year. And so far this spring, he's looked good. I mean, there's not really, obviously, it's early into spring. It's only 8 games or whatever it is in the spring, 9 games. So it's nothing to get crazy about. But everyone so far has looked good. Today, Francisco Lindor, and we'll end on this. There's video today. Francisco Lindor's playing catch now. And this worries me because I don't think there's a reason to rush him back. I feel like he is rushing way too fast to get back with this team. Lindor, take your time. We don't need you in spring training. Play catch. Batting practice. Do not make him play a game, though. I would not make him play a game until, let's say he says he's fully ready to go, he's healthy. I would not put him in until the last day of spring. I would make him play the last day of spring and then have him ready for opening day. I would not write his name in a lineup at all until he's 100% ready. And I don't think he will play a game in spring. I think the timeline, the way it is healing, and he's notorious for healing very fast. And clearly he got surgery, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He got surgery 2 weeks ago. He's already playing catch. So he's healing very quickly. But we'll see. I think the timeline right now is looking the way that he wants it to, Lindor, the way that Lindor wants it to, as in, I think he's going to be able to play opening day. I don't think he's going to play a game in spring training. They'll let him have batting practice. They'll let him play catch. But keep him on the bench until opening day. I'm excited. Now it's getting to the time where now things are starting to heat up with this team. Players are starting to play. McLean's throwing as hard as he's ever done, 97, 98. Sanga's also throwing really well, 97. Will he be consistent with that? We'll see. Still a lot of question marks, though. And there's only one way to find out if these question marks will be. There's only one way to answer these question marks. Let's play ball. Let's get opening day started. There's no better feeling in New York City than opening day. Now, we have two teams to look forward to this year with the Mets and the Yankees. But there's no better feeling than a Citi Field opening day. Mets at home. There's no better feeling. It's getting warm out. It's sunny. It's always sunny on opening day. Can't remember the last time it was raining or an overcast. It's always just a beautiful day, and it's the greatest day in the year. It really is. Opening day. The Yankees will be playing in San Francisco, though, so that's going to be a rough stretch. 6-game stretch on the West Coast. The Seattle Giants, the San Francisco Giants, and the Seattle Mariners back-to-back. That's a rough go for Yankee fans. I don't envy you. Enjoy that, guys. We'll be sitting at home eating our sausage and peppers, watching the New York Mets dominate the Pittsburgh Pirates on opening day. But with that being said, we'll end it there on episode 5 of the Mincin Show. We'll see what other news comes out on Lindor. We'll maybe touch on the WBC next week as well, as I believe that's starting this week. So there's a lot of news coming out that we'll touch on next week on the Mincin Show. And until then, I'll see you guys then on episode 6 of the Mincin Show. Peace.